the additional amendments in Appendix F, and there are a couple that we're, well, one that we're just quickly reviewing, but we'll start with the reduction on the Historic Places Fund, and would someone like to move that? Tim Scandra, seconded. Jamie Goff. Is there any discussion? Yanni?
I'll reluctantly support this because I know that we've got major financial pressures, and I know that we're actually on Thursday going to be considering a report around developing a heritage strategy. So there are ways I think that we need to be more proactive in the heritage space, and it's not just about funding. So this is a fund that has been sitting at a certain amount that has been unused for quite a while, and it's really timely that we're actually looking at how we actually have the best response from a strategic point of view in regards to heritage preservation, conservation, etc. in our city. So I'm happy to support this as a one-off as part of this process, recognising that we're going to be doing work over the next 12 months to inform the LTP over a much more strategic approach to trying to save heritage buildings in our city. So I won't repeat that comment for the next one, although I do want clarification over what budget the next one is coming out of.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yanni. Jamie, no, flag it. Pauline?
Thank you. I just have a question around it. That is there going to be any impact on anybody expecting any funding from this? Will it negatively impact on that?
Well, it's the paper that's coming to council tomorrow has a reduction of $1 million already in it. So this takes it to a reduction of 1.5 million, and it's the 2.5, and as Yanni says, is not allocated every year. So,
the answer would probably be no to that.
That's right, and the reason for the pause was I was trying to think about the expectations that people might have. So.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Carried. I propose that we move. We don't deal with the second one now. We'll come back to that. Would someone like to move that we reduce the project budget for the Wainui sewer by 1.9 million? That's moved. Phil Clearwater, seconded. Yes. Yeah. Vicky Buck, seconded. So is there any discussion on that? Andrew?
I just wanted to ask a question, if I may, please, of staff. Peter, could you just explain how and where this 1.9 million saving has been found, please?
I'll defer to Jane Parfitt on this.
I think it's just simply the tender came in under budget.
Yep. So a good result there, and a helpful addition to the to our situation. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Would someone like to move the next recommendation? Sister City grants be reduced. Paul Lonsdale, seconded. Andrew Turner. I would like to speak to this. Just simply to say that this is not, I mean, the previous council made a strong recommendation around, or established a policy around sister city relationships. And I think that they did so without really being aware of the enormous financial pressure that the organisation was under. So I think what we know now is quite different from the position that councillors were in when they passed that. By refocusing or reorienting our focus on sister city relationships to focus on those anniversary years rather than focusing on our a 3-year visiting program, it enables us to reduce the budget quite significantly over the next year and beyond. I think that the China visit this year, though, has really been well signalled. It has been. There are a number of people that are relying on the council being in China this year as part of the 30th anniversary of the relationship with Gansu province, but at the same time to make the visit to Wuhan, which is a second sister city relationship, at the same time to visit Sichuan province to sign an agreement on international education, which will be a first for New Zealand, which involves a mutual exchange of teachers as well as the involvement of the correspondence school. And it is an incredibly unique and powerful relationship between our two countries. And I think that that's something that is worthwhile as well. Obviously, it's another opportunity for the city to express its desire to have a direct air link between Guangzhou and Christchurch, so that we don't have the flights coming in via Auckland and then straight to Queenstown, but actually direct flights into Christchurch would be very good for our city. And that is something that obviously the airport company has a great interest in as well, but I believe our city does, and in fact the South Island does. We know that visitor spend is greater when the journey starts in the South Island, because this is where the great experiences are, and that's where we generate an enormous amount of return, not just for our city but for the country as a whole. And there are other issues that we wish to pursue in China, one also being the desire to host the Chinese Antarctica program here in Christchurch. We already have relationships with Korea, United States and Italy. And of course we host the New Zealand program here in Christchurch as well. We are one of 5 gateway cities to Antarctica in the world. It's an incredible opportunity if China were to choose Christchurch as its base for the program. So that's another reason to go. And so I know that people look at these sister city visits to other countries as purely sort of relational, but actually the trip to China is much more than that. It's more than the relationship, but if anyone understands China, relationships are the basis for all business arrangements, and they're the relationships are the basis for the level of trust and also the capacity for building on what we already have. So I feel very strongly that we must continue with that visit, but to make a significant reduction in the program will still enable us to get the best possible benefit for our city at the same time as having a good foundation for reorienting our sister city visits so that they are actually connected to significant anniversaries, and that makes a big impact. I've just received a report on when all our anniversary dates are, and it does actually mean that there's only one other anniversary date in the 3-year term. So it just gives us a real opportunity to push things out into a much more measured way of approaching our sister cities. Jamie.
Yeah, thanks. And really heartened to hear your words around China, because as Duncan said, it is the economic. Lays the golden egg, I suppose, and at this time it's terribly important. I just wanted to know, just from my own understanding when I vote on this, what implication is that going to have? One, the reduction of $70,000 to our relationship with China, and also to other strategic partners, probably like Seattle is a key one, with the likes of Google and us as an innovation leader, or the potential to be an innovation leader. Tangibly, what difference will that make? And it's probably a shame that Duncan isn't here. But
Duncan is probably regretting the fact that he's not here at the moment as well. But the point is that I think that I don't believe that it will make a difference in terms of those relationships. So I've actually got the Seattle dates. I think 2016 is that time frame, so it can be pushed out to beyond our term in office, and I think that's appropriate. And I think the only other sister city relationship that actually has falls within this term in terms of a particular anniversary is the 20th anniversary with Songpa-gu in Korea, and that is next year. And the 40th anniversary of Christchurch, England, which is in Dorset, as people know, is next year as well. But as people are aware, I'm being funded to speak at a conference next week in London by the World Bank. I've been invited to address a conference on understanding risk and building urban resilience. And so I've used that opportunity to jump on a train and go to Dorset. So actually the city will get a very cheap sister city visit out of those arrangements. It will just simply be the cost of the train fare. And I've arranged the sister city visit, so it's Friday and Saturday, and the the Christchurch city are in fact funding accommodation for the night. So I think that we should also think about opportunities to add in sister city visits to other opportunities such as that, but I've managed to do that one I think quite reasonably. So I will be writing to all of the sister city committees because sister city committees are volunteers. They're local people who've got relationships with these sister cities, and I think that will be an opportunity to reinforce how important those sister city relationships are, and to organise for a new policy. Yanni.
Yeah, I think we need real clarity about which budget this is actually coming out of. So I can't see. I know on page 70 of our annual plan, is this coming out of the Civic and International Relations budget, which has got a proposed increase of 88,000. So I just think we need to be really clear, because I don't want this coming off the sister cities operational grants. I think it does come out of the Civic and International Relations mayoral visits or whatever other budget that they've got, but it's not a reduction to the sister cities grants. It's actually a change to another budget, as I understand it. But we need clarity on that.
Peter, can you, Diane?
Yep. The total budget for the sister cities is 111,000, of which 12.5 is for inbound and 12.5 for outbound, and presumably flights. I'm not quite sure, maybe relationships, but the 86 is from the international relations grants process. So certainly the 70 at the moment was intended to take from the 86, but if there's no travel, then it would be possible for the budget to be reallocated between those lines.
Right. So
the amendment should really specify. On page 70 of the draft annual plan, is it a reduction to the Civic and International Relations budget by 70,000? Is that what we're doing? So it's actually not to the sister cities grants at all.
sorry, can we get that clarified, and we'll just carry on with the discussion.
I was just going to say, my understanding is this is the operational budget for the sister cities committees that we are reducing. It's not the International Relations Fund.
Yeah.
To answer James' question as well, Google are here at the moment with their Google Learn project, and they want a reception. So there are opportunities. Yeah, exactly. So there are opportunities to do a great deal with a range of other partners who are working with Google as well, or another range of other organisations. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, absolutely essential.
Can we? Yep.
Yes, we've checked, it's definitely coming from that line, yeah.
So is this the correct phrase? Sister cities grants 1 year reduction?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
That doesn't make sense with what we've got here, which is it's the Civic and International Relations budget. It's been
Page 68 provides greater clarity around the level of service and talks about the sister city within the...
So I think it's better to take it off that wider grant so that you have the discretion about where you can save that money, rather than just to say it's a sister city grants, which can give the impression that you're cutting their operational funding, which I don't think is the intent of what you've spoken to.
Well, the total travel is 25,000, so if you wish to cut 70, you can cut some from what I believe is travel. The balance would have to come from the grants to get 70. Yep.
I won't be supporting that. I'm happy to reduce the travel component, but I think that the sister city committees would have made submissions if they'd known that their funding was going to be cut, and I don't think it's fair to cut their funding without having a conversation with them about where we might be able to save costs. Given that there's an 88,000 proposed increase in our 3-year plan, I would have thought the more responsible thing to do would be to say that we don't wish to have an increase of 88,000 to our 3-year plan with what we had currently budgeted, and we, hold it at the level that it was for the previous year.
So what's the impact of that on this year's rates?
It's 88,000 as opposed to 17, so.
Sorry, I'm just...
I'm not sure what the question was.
Yeah, I think that I've kind of misunderstood what the whole of the funding reduction would mean. Can we take that offline and get some more information, and we'll move on to the next one? We'll come back to it. So who would like to move that we cease the publication? Glenn Livingston, Jamie Goff. Glenn, did you want to speak to it?
Yeah, I guess just to say that this is the kind of trimming I think our ratepayers would like to see, and you can see as part of the equation this does actually have a significant effect, so it's all these things adding up.
Yep. Jamie?
Look, we're well aware and extremely cognizant, as illustrated here, that we're trying our absolute darndest to try and cut our cloth accordingly. We all know that not a lot of people are actually enamoured with local government. Goodness only knows why. But for someone who sits around this table, who actually is really interested in it at a young age, dare I say it, I've actually never read this publication in my life, and I'm one of these strange people that loves local government. So I do wonder actually who is reading. And the other thing I look at is we've got a heck of a lot of local businesses, and I see the job of council, enable them to get on with what they do best. Give them a bit of business, let them employ people. So I think there's people out there that are far better placed that actually work in this field specifically, and it's perhaps our role to liaise with them and help them build a better publication, build those relationships there, than trying to be, as I've said a lot of the time, be the be-all and end-all of everything inside council. So yeah, let's get this one off the books.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy to see this as a recommendation. I think that people are looking to us for quality information, not spin, not the good news, not the glossy, nothing like that. What they want from us is factual information. When is this happening? Why is it happening? How much is it costing? And what are we going to get by way of benefit? And they want us to play a leadership role in terms of combining communication sources so that information gets out to people in a timely manner and they can trust it. So that it's not rah, we're doing this, we're doing that, we've fixed this number of pipes, we've done that. People want to know when are they going to get their insurance and their EQC stuff sorted, when are they going to see their streets mended, when are they going to be able to live the lives that they want to be living instead of living, the nightmare that is the reality for too many of our people. So I'm really happy to see this go from our budget, and I think that we need to focus our attention on giving people the information they need when they need it and how they need it, not this. David?
As a substitute, could we institute a page on our website.
Oh, yeah. There is no question that we can put this information that's contained in here out. In fact, there are many people who already put this information out, but it is focused on achievements, what has been achieved, instead of giving people the information they really need, which is when are the things that aren't being done going to be done. All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And